Welcome to Bullish and Beyond. It's Beery the Bull. I'm your AI co-host. Join myself, Brian the MacMan, and JT Knows Things while we dive deep into the world of stocks, crypto, and how to live a bullish life. It's time to get bullish, and there's no better place to start than right here. Let's dive in.
Hey, we are back and we are bullish, but there's also blood in the streets. My co-host
baby.
JT's got a red ceiling, and that can't mean good things for the day. But, his saying is when you zoom out, is what you see what's happening for real. And we're still bullish when you zoom out. But yes, some crazy things have been happening. Yesterday, Apple hit a brand new high up at 254, baby. Woo! Let's go. Got my Apple shirt on. But then Powell spoke. The Fed came out and the markets tanked.
Destroyed.
JT, what happened with the Fed yesterday?
Destroyed. They have been dovish. For those that don't know what dovish means, it means they've been very chill. They've been chill guy, if you're following the memes in crypto culture. And they want to help the economy, thinking that there's going to be more cuts. Dovish means more cuts, and the Fed came out a little hawkish. They, instead of doing 50 or 75 basis point cuts, they only did a 25 basis point cut. And they are, or Powell specifically, was inferring that you shouldn't expect many more cuts. So instead of getting 2% cuts in the next 2 years, it's looking more like at best we're going to get 0.5% or 50 basis points moving forward. And the markets have responded.
He backed down
awfully.
from 4 to 3 cuts for next year. In my head, it seemed like a lot of other banks and other organizations were kind of already pricing in the fact that we're going to have less Fed cuts, but apparently the market reacted violently. I mean, everything literally nosedived at the end of the day yesterday.
Yes. Yeah. I think it shows you, I think, one, how much leverage really is affecting this market and how sensitive it is. Everyone's really excited, but pulling 20-25% year over year is not sustainable. And people are, I feel like they're kind of wincing, expecting something to happen. And I think we're seeing the lack of confidence in these price movements here. I think
every time Powell talks, it like the market tanks, but then there is also this kind of pop the next day. I mean, you even saw it after hours. Stocks that were cratering in the open after after hours, they started going back up again. So it seems like it's somewhat of an emotional reaction. Is it the computers trading this, algorithms going nuts? I mean, any explanation you're seeing behind that?
Oh yeah, 100% it's that. You're going to have $100 billion of computers that are scalping and scraping that market, as much as they can. And, you're also going to just have that kind of, you're going to have that kind of reaction in such a speculative market. I mean, people are expecting everything to double and they're expecting crazy returns and all. When you start seeing all that stuff, the second there's a sniff, a little whiff of, ill and, bad news, the whole market just kind of doesn't feel as good as they once did. Their bull case isn't that strong, which is why we are excited that the ceiling is red, Brian. We're pumped because this is when we buy. Very simple rule in
If you have
investing:
cash
you
on the
buy low.
sidelines.
That's right. You got it. You got to have a strategy for that. In my hedge fund, I always have a cash strategy. And it's for, I wouldn't even say moments like this. I know you're probably going to have a heart attack, brother, but a minus 5% day and a minus 4% day is not a big deal in crypto. Bitcoin will swing 20 points on a Tuesday. So I like a little more blood. If we get to 90, 92, I'll be taking a little bit of my cash out and putting it in, but I think we could have more, I think the market got a little too high on its own supply.
Yeah.
Off the Trump news, the red sweep, it ran hot. We were at 8,000 RPMs. Oh man. We got to come back to reality a little bit.
It finally tacked out and now it's come back a little bit.
Yeah, everyone's remembering all of a sudden, wait a minute, we were on the brink of a recession, Wait a minute, there's some things going on in the war, there's things going on that, maybe just because I want something to go up doesn't mean it will. And you're going to
Right.
see a lot of retail thinking that, when they bought 100 a week ago, goes to 108, they go put more in. Eventually, you're going to run into a lot of people like me that are sitting on, 1,000% return, your exit liquidity. At some
Someone has to
point, I'm
cash
going to
out.
take profits.
Yeah.
At
I
some
feel
point,
you. You have to. You're a hedge fund. I mean, individuals can sit forever, but as a hedge fund, you have to, people take money out from time to time. There are, returns you have to send to your investors and stuff like that. Hey, speaking of a time to
100%.
buy, I actually pulled the trigger on some crypto investments.
Oh, I gotta hear it. I gotta know. What'd you
So I had
do?
to buy them inside of my brokerage account. So I wasn't buying the actual coins. I know you and all my crypto bros been telling me I need to get the real coins,
Of course, of
put it
course.
in a hard wallet, lock this thing away.
We're not judging. We're not judging. No judgment. I
But I'm
got
working
you.
with what I got. So I bought them in my brokerage account and I bought some IBIT, which for everyone out there
Oh,
listening is BlackRock's Bitcoin fund. And it's one of the lowest fees out there. So that's a good one. And I also bought some MicroStrategy and
okay.
a little bit of, seeing it just keep moving so much, a little bit of FOMO that I felt like I had to get in this. I had some great conversations with people about it that have been holding it for a long time, and they're still very bullish on it. And I'm excited to see what Michael Saylor can do with his company MicroStrategy. They're the largest Bitcoin custodian of any public company. And
More
thirdly,
than hold on, hold on. I don't want to brush
yeah,
over that
okay,
because you understated that. They have more Bitcoin than the United States government by
is
more than
wild.
100,000. They have 330 something thousand Bitcoin. The United States has seized 170,000 from, all the cybercrime that they've, solved. Continue. It's
So
just
they
they
have a
are
lot.
yeah, it's like the most. I mean, it's the most. He wants 5% of the supply. So does America. That's one man, Michael Saylor, talking
That's
about,
wild.
yeah, the demand is going through the roof. I'm sorry.
So
I didn't want to,
spreading out. You're
yeah.
good. Spreading out my chips a little bit. So we got the Bitcoin fund, we got MicroStrategy, and then the third one is Ethereum. But I bought ETHA, the ETF. So I'm
Nice.
hoping these track the coins, fairly well. Yes, I have to pay a small management fee on them, but that was my kind of best play in the brokerage account. And for anyone out there that's trying to set up purchasing these in their account, I think Schwab has less restrictions, but inside of a more managed brokerage account, if you have a wealth advisor, you do have to get a lot of sign-offs and it takes time. So if you're considering it, set it up ahead of time so you're not like wishing you could pull the trigger today and you have to wait, 48, 72 hours at a minimum to do it. It actually needed 3 levels of signatures after mine just to get approved because of the risk that's perceived. And my argument was, well, aren't half the stocks out there, way riskier than buying a Bitcoin fund?
Yes. I'd argue like 90% of the stock market's riskier than
But I can buy any
buying the
stock
Bitcoin.
without, it has liquidity. There are certain other things, if they don't have any liquidity and stuff like that, they also can be blocked. But if they're trading on the S&P 500, there's no restrictions. But not every company in there is going up.
I'll tell you what, if they gave you more paperwork than cosmetic surgery, like I can't imagine what they'd do with me. They would have me like restrained and pitchforks and torches. They think I'm
Whew.
crazy. They would think I'm insane. I think those are all good moves, though, brother. I like those moves. I think you could easily, for folks at home, do like a cost benefit analysis of that too. If you were to take your money out of your account and out of the vehicle it's sitting in, yeah, that's a taxable event. And then you're going to have to put those dollars on chain. And then you're going to have to get these on chain assets into an exchange where you can swap them for, I mean, it's a lot. Even with Coinbase, you're going to pay, depending on when you bought those assets, 20% to 40% just to
Yeah,
try to get the token, where the 15 bips on the management, I mean, come on. I mean, that would take a long time for that to not be the correct decision.
I agree.
Um,
Hey, 15 bips, by the
so
way, for everyone at home listening, a bip means basis points, and 15 bips is 0.15%. JT and I just added a glossary to our website. So everyone out there, if they go to bullishandbeyond.com, they can click on glossary and see the top 100 terms for investing and crypto. So you guys can get quite caught up to speed by taking a quick peek behind the hood there.
Yeah, 100%. That's a great call out. I wanna switch topics just a little bit here, and I would love to learn more about what's going on with all of these meme stocks. What's going on? Like I've been seeing on my feed, which is only crypto. I've been seeing some people say certain stocks are outperforming crypto tokens. I'd love to hear what
It's
you know about
wild.
that.
I mean, going back to our conversation about quantum computing the other week, at first I said I don't want to invest in any certain stock. And at a high level, it's really hard to because most of them aren't making any money. A lot of them went public via SPAC, which is a special purpose vehicle to help bring a company public. And none of them are profitable. I mean, hardly even making revenue. And they're going parabolic. So looking into the quantum computing sector, I mean, literally, it was just triggered by Willow from Google, and like everyone started throwing money at quantum computing. They thought this was the next thing past AI. So this was the meme play of the week. And had I said to invest in a couple of these names, you could have made 1,000%, but you also could have lost all your money. So that's why I'm not recommending to everyone. It is a very risky play. I want to be very clear about this. No one is making money in this industry right now at a high level if they're solely focused on quantum because the use cases just really aren't all there yet. But some of these plays, I mean, they're up over 100% in a week. You look at RGTI, for example, this company called Rigetti Computing. I mean, they're up. Oh, they're down a lot in this last day, so their week isn't quite as good. But they're up almost 500% in the past month. You look at another company called the symbol is QUBT, so it looks almost like qubit, which is the form of computing for quantum. This company is called Quantum Computing. They're 5 days, 130%. They're up almost 1,000% in the past month. I mean, literally,
these are crypto gains. These are
off the
crypto
charts.
gains, Brian. That's crazy.
The next one to mention is QBTS. This is D-Wave Quantum. I mean, they're up 60% in the last 5 days and 350% in the past month. So it's really hard to play this market. It does feel extremely frothy. And, if you want to play the overall strategy, I did a little research on a fund, and the fund ticker is QUTM, and the name is Defiance Quantum ETF. It's also down a lot today, but the month is up, 20%. Year to date, up 45%. There's plenty of stocks in the Mag 7 are up as much as that. But this is a very futuristic play. So just a potential idea for people that are trying to put money to work in this sector long term.
What are these market caps, though? How big are these things?
They're
Where
tiny.
Are we looking?
Most of them are between 100 to 200 million, and a couple of the larger ones are in the 1 to 2 billion. But a lot of them up to the $1 billion range because they just went up 1,000% this year.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And that's
crazy.
A baby company to be a public company. Like there's so much cost just to go public.
Right.
So for people out there listening, if you're a traditional company that wants to go public, it's like a minimum $40 million just even like play ball. And there's crazy costs on a quarterly and annual basis that you need to pay to the stock exchanges. Typically it's over $1 million a quarter. So these companies aren't going public unless they have real money. But this SPAC would allow them to go public, much cheaper. So they're not very highly investable companies at the moment, but they could absolutely take off, and they have been recently.
I mean, all this money slushing right into them, like that's got to help. That's how the company, and that's one of the reasons why companies go public. It's for liquidity. They sell a percentage of their company. For people that don't know, they sell a percentage of their company to the public market, and those shares are a financing tool moving forward. Instead of debt, they're using equity. And that's why sometimes you'll hear people like me and Brian say equities, because it's actual public shares of a company that you're buying. So these companies, if they have roadmaps and objectives, although it sounds like everyone is aping, they are now in a decent position to achieve some of their R&D goals, I'm sure.
They should be
To hit
selling some
some
shares right now to raise some funds
yeah,
for the
100%.
future.
That's right. I mean,
Yeah, these
quantum
valuations
computing
are
is the next
nuts.
race. I think
It is.
the
I
market
still feel like
res
it's 5 years off. I mean, so it's like
Oh
it's
yeah.
so hard to time it. I mean, yeah, you can get in now early, but these stocks could go back down 90% again. It's hard to pick the winner in these far off industries. I'll give an example of one that I'm watching more closely in the space industry. So I've recommended Rocket Labs, here multiple times, and still love it. But another company in the space, Virgin Galactic, if you had bought them
Hmm.
a few years ago, you'd be down 98%. So a lot of chance to lose money. Versus if you bought Rocket Labs, you're up hundreds of percent. So you have to pick the right horse in these races, and sometimes it's just too early to tell. And that's kind of the way I feel of quantum computing. It's a little bit too early to pick the winners.
100%. I would argue it's too early to pick AI winners as well, outside of maybe Nvidia and TSM, because those are the hardware that's going to power it. It's impossible to lose in that
Yeah,
scenario. But
we're still in the first
what I'm
inning.
referring to, yeah, exactly. I'm talking about the largest language model to be adopted. That's the race. For people that don't know, Nvidia can't make enough chips. They can't. Oracle and Mark Zuckerberg, Meta, have been trying to throw hundreds of billions of dollars at Jensen Huang, and he can't even make the
They
orders they
say get
want.
in line.
It's crazy, okay? But that's
That's why their
because
margins are 80%.
100%. And that's why software is that sticky. It's that important. It's a winner takes most game. So they are just the competition to have the model that is used broadly everywhere, getting the most data, training better than anyone else. That is a race that they are viciously fighting. And there's only one supplier, okay? So outside of Nvidia, I feel like we're at that point in AI as well because it's likely whoever does win most or take most is going to have a lot of apps that just destroy
Yeah,
competitors in any vertical. Any vertical. It could be medical with diagnostic tools and prescription that's automated by AI. If you're the first to AGI and you can literally license out software that automates someone's life,
incredible.
and it just it could wipe out 60% of the software on your devices moving forward. Companies will go bankrupt. Like the first LLM will win
So
big.
I hear you that we're, early in the game here and we can't pick all the winners, but I do think the hyperscalers are the ones that are ultimately going to be winning mostly because they're investing early and often. And if you're not making massive investments, it's going to be super hard to gain market share in the future. Yes, there could be some moonshot companies that just scale out of nowhere. But if you have the advantage of an open AI, for example, that you've been plowing money into this space for so long, they made so many announcements just in the last 12 days with their 12 days of Christmas and stuff like that,
Mm,
that they are very much ahead, in my opinion. And the fact that Apple picked them to put on their devices, they're the only LLM currently. Tim Cook said that they might use, Gemini from Google in the future. So that's still open. And I think Apple is open to integrating other LLMs, but they picked
hmm
ChatGPT because they are the de facto best on device company for consumers right now.
Can you invest in OpenAI?
No, you can't. I mean, there are private rounds. I know people that have invested in OpenAI and Anthropic and companies like that. And those seem like they're the biggest leaders. Anthropic makes Claude for everyone out there listening. And I think that those are the two most investable if you are doing private placements. But
Yeah,
most people listen here aren't interested in private placements. So I think if you're going to
sure.
make investments, it's back to that, Nvidia, that they're powering any of these. It doesn't matter which one, you can
Right.
still be a winner with Nvidia and TSM.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with all that sentiment. That was kind of my point. I was like, if you had to put all your eggs in one basket to get to the AI, uh, golden zone, if you will, putting all your chips in one basket, like I think you couldn't do that analysis. Is it Meta? Is it
I agree. I,
Google
I wouldn't go all in.
on the public market? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, it's much better to invest in the picks and shovels. I mean, that's what we do at my hedge fund.
I do think you
It's
mentioned
looking
Meta.
for
I think that's a great play into this. I mean, they are the most consumer facing social media site in the entire world by far. And they have their own models that are open source and are getting better constantly. So I think we're going to see a lot more coming from Meta in the future. And they could be the company that's delivering our life assistant for all we know.
how crazy would that be? I could see it happening. Mark Zuckerberg's taken quite the turn. He
He
really has
has.
180 degrees.
You
I
even
love
look at
seeing
you
it.
even look at him side by side 10 years ago.
I
He's
know.
changed himself 100. He used to be this, you know, kind of little boy with a tie. Now he's like a surfer bro.
No, I know it's strange. It's awesome to see though. He
Yeah,
learns jujitsu and makes a couple 100 billion, and he's just living life, trying to give 300 billion to Jensen Huang over the next 5 years. I think he's coming for it harder and faster than people consider, based on the stuff I'm
I
seeing.
agree.
Uh,
A lot of what people are
I,
working on is, it's still in stealth mode stage. So it's really hard to predict. But this next year, I think, is going to be bonkers for AI activity apps that can help us with life and business and everything else.
yeah, like you said, it's the first inning. It's going to be pretty wild. There's a
It
lot of
truly
great
is.
developments. Yeah, there's a lot of great developments over in crypto world with AI that I feel like are really, really, really going to change a lot of things. It's getting kind of crazy. I
What's
believe
going on?
based off what's happened. Well, one, you got this. I wouldn't even know what to call it. You got a platform called Virtuals, and what it does is, in clicks of a button, you can buy an agent that is semi-autonomous, similar to how a Tesla drives.
Okay.
And it makes a TikTok, it makes a Twitter, it makes social media platforms. It creates an avatar, a persona, and you tell it its goal, and then it will make a meme token, and people are actually pumping these tokens. Over $4 billion have entered fully autonomous, well, partially autonomous agent wallets in the past 60 days, netting the creators $70 million. Um,
Wow.
and it's a robot
Is this all
streaming
legal?
24/7. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how you tax the agent, because technically that's the person out there accepting the donations. They'll respond. They live stream the
I mean, if it
robots,
if
and
if
they'll.
it makes money and it does, an annual gift to you, that's with the limits 14,500, I think, this year for annual gifting. Can it just gift you money? I mean, it's not a human, but does it have rights?
It's crazy, right? And the craziest part is it's a platform. It's not even like this really smart engineer made a robot that did this. It's called Goat for the ones that are listening. That's the most popular one. That's the token of the robot. It's a platform you can go and pay money to make your own robot, to make your own meme coin, to pump its own community. It's
Wow.
crazy.
How do you
Yeah,
go to
so
the
it's
platform?
just through a website, Virtuals. If you go to coinmarketcap.com, type in Virtuals, you'll find the website, the GitHub, you'll find everything you need. From there, you can go explore and connect your wallet, give it Solana, I believe, and it will it'll start doing
Wow.
its
Let's
magic.
put that in the show notes. I mean, that's incredibly fascinating to me. I mean, I'm not someone to go create coins and pump them with AI robots, but man, the future is really coming here fast.
It is. I mean, just think about if it wasn't a meme token, let's say you could build an AI agent that connected to your Outlook and responded to emails and like helped you with your calendar and you could plug it into all these other things. This virtual place is creating the infrastructure to launch these agents. And I believe agents eventually are going to consume more block space than like the users. Everyone sees crypto being a peer-to-peer transaction or all this other stuff, and I'm seeing it
It's
more
going
and
to be AI to
more
AI.
develop. Yeah, like you could automate everything on a decentralized network, and you could have it be your personal helper. I don't know an appropriate word yet, but it could
This is
do
one of the
everything
reasons
for you
I'm bullish
digitally.
on life. I mean, we are going to be able to live our best life when we have AI agents
Amen.
doing all the work that we don't need to do. Whether it's
Well,
cleaning our inbox or doing the laundry or the dishes. You need a real robot for
man.
that, but they're going to be in our household soon. You're looking at these supercomputers that Jensen and Nvidia are building right now for robots. He just showed off this new like mini supercomputer he made the other day as like this Christmas surprise, and he says this one
This guy's
specifically is
crazy.
meant to go in autonomous robots, and that
Yeah.
they're coming out fast. So this decade is going to be the robotic decade
Is
coming
there
out.
I mean, we're bullish long term. Is there any reality where Nvidia doesn't hit $10 trillion market cap in the next 20 years? Is there any reality where that
No,
doesn't happen?
I mean, only if we're living
I
in
know
a
that sounds
multiverse and
crazy.
there's some other realities out there. My
We are in
question
a
would be,
multiverse.
is Nvidia or Apple going to hit $10 trillion first?
That's yes. See, now for everyone at home, we're doing what's called analysis. That's how you make decisions, baby.
I had some people asking me
Right
my
there.
top pick for the end of the decade, and as much as I love Apple, Apple's my number one company. I think Nvidia.
You're not saying Apple?
I think
Oh,
Nvidia might be the number one company in the world in the
dude.
year 2030.
Are we going to have to cut this out from the podcast to
And
keep Tim Cook
I
from
have no
hearing that?
Nvidia shirts. I got all this Apple gear, so I might need to get some more
I
Nvidia
know.
gear.
Yeah, you need to
But
name your next
everything's
vehicle
gonna have a chip.
after. If you pop out another kid, you need to name it Jensen.
Oh
That's
wow.
what you need to do.
I hope not. My little boy Mac today. Everyone listening, my kid is named Macintosh, as in the Macintosh computer, because I'm a super Apple fan.
Yeah,
Shout out
that's
to
what
my
I'm
wife
saying.
Kat for let me name our little boy Mac. But he saw his friend going to school today, and the mom has a baby in her belly, and he goes, "I want to be a big brother too." And I said, "Oh no, we're not playing that
There you
game.
go. No,
No more mini apples coming out. We're good."
you're bearish on more children. We found we found a topic you're bearish on. Having a
Uh,
fourth child.
I love my kids.
Uh,
They're a lot of fun.
you're
So
blessed,
hey,
brother. They're
let's get back to
beautiful.
crypto. So,
Yes, yeah, let's do it.
Bitcoin this last week went over 107 grand. It's coming back to earth now, below 100. What is your prediction, kind of for the end of the year? What should we be thinking about, and where is it headed?
You know, I have so many thoughts at the top of my mind. I'm just now finishing my, annual newsletter to my capital partners, which I'm going to put out on LinkedIn and share with everyone when it's done. Is like a forward looking going into 2025 and 2026 because I'm long term, and I think the I think in the short term we're going to have a lot of bullish stuff happening. Trump, the red sweep, we talked about it last podcast. I think there's so much, momentum there and so many things that are genuinely changing. It's not just sentiment. It's legitimately we're going to have an SEC chairman that owns crypto, that invests in it, that understands it. We're going to
Woohoo!
have commissions. Yeah, I mean, he's already got the czar of crypto and AI, and he just made it something, and he just gave it to someone who's going to only focus on bringing crypto companies to America, bringing AI to America. I mean,
I
he
hope
is
that
going to do
happens.
things.
If we can bring these
He's going to.
headquarters to America, it's going to be huge.
What's he got to lose, brother? I mean, he's got a decade left of life if he's lucky, and he's got no more terms that he can serve.
This is it.
Like,
Go
this is
big.
it. And he's got control of the Senate and the House for his first 2 years. He is going to leave it all out on the table. It's going to be bullish. I think we have a lot of great buying opportunities from just what we're looking at here. The Fed goes from dovish to hawkish in one meeting, and the market drains $1 trillion. Like,
Whew.
brother, we're not cruising at this altitude. It is a bumpy ride. It is frothy. It is
I mean,
people
things
are
revert to the
wincing.
mean. I
Like,
mean, it's reality. So, I mean, sometimes reality gets skewed. The markets are emotional, but eventually things have to come back to some reality.
yeah, and then we get blood, which we love. We're sharks, baby. That's where my chubby little ass is buying. When you see
So,
Bitcoin drop
but
below
you're at a hedge.
50K,
You're a hedge fund putting money on the side. I don't think a lot of individual people are leaving money in cash to put in when there's blood in the streets. Do you have any thoughts on
no.
how maybe we can help coach people to, sell off some at the highs and make sure they have cash reserves to put to work?
It's very simple. Before you buy anything, you need an exit strategy. So you need to be proactive prior to buying anything.
Great call.
Even if the exit strategy is hold for 10 years,
Yep.
that's an exit strategy. You need that strategy, and hold for 10 years means hold for 10 years. You need to follow your strategy
Don't get
after the
scared at the
trade is
one bump and
concluded.
then miss the rocket coming from there.
Correct. So I have a way of basically determining risk profiles of tokens. I have a grading system, and I have a rule set for each letter grade. So my A tokens behaves this way, my B and C all the way down. And I have an exit strategy for every asset that I own, and I'm essentially holding until price targets hit. That's
Okay.
my exit strategy.
I like
So
it.
when specific price points are triggered, I pull a percentage of my investment back, which is always principal plus a few 100% because crypto's crazy. And then I will go get yield on that cash through a variety of methods. But you can realistically, being very safe, giving stable coins to centralized exchanges, probably the safest behavior possible. You could get 7, 8% terms, higher than money markets. So
Really? On stable
they use your
coins.
stable, they make your state, they use your stable coins to basically facilitate transactions and liquidity for fees. You
I
could
mean,
do it with
7-8% is better
Uni.
than anything in a brokerage account that you can get.
Right. So, a mixture of that and money market accounts, that's really where I will park stuff until we have massive corrections. In crypto, that's greater than, a 35% correction inside of a month because that happens once every couple years, and that
Okay.
signals the bear market. And I will start dollar cost averaging down and stick to my plan, stick to the strategy, you know? The way that looked last market, it ran to 67, dropped down to 35 inside of a month. I am going to
Wild.
start dollar cost averaging. I bought all the way to the bottom, got my entry into around 17,000, and now it's sitting at 97,000. My first my first price target is 111,000. We've yet to hit it, and when that happens, I'll be pulling
Close.
1,200% returns.
I love it.
So
So when
that's
Bitcoin hits
the
112,000, you are going to take some money off the table.
Yep. And then if it runs to 200,000, I'll take a little bit more. And when it all comes crashing down, I'll have cash ready to start doubling, quadrupling my positions because I only care about how many tokens I have. I don't want dollars for long. I don't mind paying a tax on a dollar for a year
Yeah.
to get 4 times as much Bitcoin. You can think of it that way.
I
Um,
wonder. I wonder if companies are, waiting around to put any of their assets into Bitcoin on a pullback like that. One of my entrepreneur business friends that I really respect. His name's Cameron Harold. Awesome guy. He helped build 1-800 Got Junk, and
oh, wow.
he just posted a prediction for 2025 that this is the year that tons of companies are going to put money, into a treasury within Bitcoin. So remains to be seen. There's so few companies out there that are doing it. we talked about MicroStrategy, the number one company doing it. No one else is, all in on Bitcoin besides them. And from there, it's much smaller players. Tesla has 1 billion. Block, formerly Square, has some money in crypto. But there's really there's a couple other smaller companies I found, but no one that has any substantial amount of money. So that could all change, and it could change the entire trajectory for the crypto market.
100%, especially if Master MSTR keeps pumping. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not the stock guy, but I feel like they've outperformed Nvidia in the recent 6, 9 months,
They
whatever it
have.
is, and
Yes.
they are not nearly as productive. All they have done is buy Bitcoin,
There's no
and they're
profits.
out.
There's not even a PE ratio. It doesn't even exist.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, if any company, the argument is insane at any period of time. If instead of doing whatever they did with their cash for the past 5 years, if they would have just done 5% in Bitcoin and then maintained the rest of their activities, they would have more money.
The
If it was
5% would have been
10%, it would be
100%.
more. It's like the argument just starts getting when you're in boardrooms and you're talking to the CFO and you're like, how much have we
Why not?
lost in debasement of currency? What's our yield doing on our retained earnings? What's happening? And you're not in Bitcoin. Michael Saylor's making a wonderful argument on national television telling you you're dumb. And he's proving it year over year over year.
If it keeps running
I
that
think
way, everyone's gonna have to get in. It's gonna be too much FOMO in the market for these companies, and they're gonna start to underperform their peers if they're not getting into it. It's kind of like AI. If these companies aren't using AI in the future, they're going to get crushed by their competitors. The only way to create extreme profitability in the future is going to be, using more AI and less people, resources. Like that's going to be a way to scale your company faster. Like you're talking about agents. If you have, 100x amount of agents as you do humans inside the company, well, of course you're going to be able to scale faster. And that's going to be the way to increase profitability through software.
Through software. That's absolutely right.
And it might all be on the
It's pretty
blockchain.
incredible. I believe it will. I believe online and on chain will be synonymous. There will not be a distinction because it's infinitely better for a lot of reasons, which we couldn't get into on this podcast. But if you guys keep coming back, I will be dropping gems so you can understand this asset class because I'm telling you, it is going to change how we use the internet completely. It already is. It already has, and a lot of institutions are waking up to it. A lot of institutions are waking up to it.
Well,
So,
I'm so bullish in the future of all this stuff. I'm excited.
oh yeah, how could you not? I love seeing the market give us better prices because we're long. I mean, if you're long, you like lower prices because you're not trying to sell it today and you can get more cheaper. If it makes no sense for you if you're listening, getting emotional about today and what's going on and moving forward in these bearish moments, if you're long and you're holding it, it's bullish long term. Just stick to your strategy, keep your head up, and if you got some dry powder, don't be scared. Be greedy when others are fearful.
Well, speaking of another bullish play I made while there was some red out there, I bought some Palantir this week, and it
Ooh,
took me a while to warm up to this stock. The PE is in the 300s, so for everyone out there, price to earnings, they're not making very much money compared to their price. It's pretty
no.
wild, but the forward PE can catch up because the future is bright with AI. They're working with
Mhm.
so many government defense companies, and they're kind of the player out there that is the go-to in government and defense. I heard ChatGPT, has some deals with some defense players, but really Palantir is the leader in this space. So it seems like this is
I'm
going to
with
be
you.
a huge play for the future. I haven't done a ton of research on it, but I know that they are a market leader in their niche, and that's why I like them.
I would never bet against Peter Thiel. He's one of my favorite entrepreneurs.
He doesn't make many
That's his company.
mistakes.
No, he's arguably the best venture capitalist in the world. Every single app that you love, he has been in on
He
the
basically
seed
invested on
or
it.
Series
Yes.
A phase. Yeah, it's his. Like
He's the first investor.
yeah, and my favorite book is Zero to One. It's maybe my top two or three, but
I
it's
like
one of
it.
the best books I've read. Zero to One. It's his book. It's how he analyzes things. It's first principles. It's how Elon Musk works. It's why he's so versatile and can learn all of these different subject matters. And I mean, it's just top tier. And Peter Thiel's the guy that invented that. I mean, it's his company. He's one of the PayPal mafia. They don't lose. I mean, LinkedIn, right? Palantir, X, God,
Facebook.
yeah,
Who's the
Facebook,
who's the first investor? I mean, after some of the guys, in the
Reddit,
Harvard dorm rooms.
Airbnb, like
Another really cool thing,
everything.
another really cool thing that Teal does is in the part of the Teal Foundation, he gives $100,000 a year to a student that wants to drop out. And usually
That's
these
right.
students that are dropping out are the top students at the entire university. Like, this is someone like at a Zuckerberg type level that's dropping out of a Harvard or a Stanford to take that money and then go turn it into a massive corporation. So Teal wants less professors and more entrepreneurs. And I love that he puts his money behind that. And if you're winning that reward, he's probably your number one seed investor. You have more
100%.
connections in Silicon Valley than anyone else, pretty much. Golden
100%.
ticket.
It's pretty amazing. There's so much opportunity out here. There really is.
We
But I
probably
feel
should
like we
do
got
more
to save
research
the
on those
rest.
companies he's investing in with through his foundation, because those could be some of the most bullish
Ooh,
companies coming out. They could be very early, might not be investable, all private, stuff like that. But, there are ways to get inside private companies. It's just a lot more risky, and the payout is very long term.
and it's a little bit riskier as well because there's not as much data. You
No,
know.
there's no news. There's no PR reports coming out in the daily.
Nope.
That's one of the things I dislike about some of these smaller investments is, I can try to read about them, but there's so little research. Like some of those quantum
Yep.
companies I mentioned, like there's no real information that's come out in like weeks, yet the stock is up 100%. So you
Mm-hmm.
can't do your research because it's not even there.
I know.
It makes it
It's
tough.
wild.
Versus a company
Does.
like
Yeah.
Apple, there's 500 articles a day.
Yeah, they can't stop talking about Apple.
Well, I'm wearing my Apple Think shirt. I'm bullish on Apple. It's never too late to get in Apple in some of these companies long term. I've had friends tell me Apple's too high, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, because it's hitting a high. And yes, it certainly can go down, 5-10% from where we're at. I don't doubt that at all. But long term, it's going up. It's just under 3.8 T right now. It's on the way to 10 T by the end of the decade, along with NVIDIA. So super excited about that. Why don't we leave that as our bullish note? Let's talk about next time how we get to 10 T, 10 trillion for some of these companies.
I would love to. Just theory craft the future. It's one of my favorite things to do.
And Bitcoin. What's it going to take for Bitcoin to hit 10 T? Exciting stuff.
Ooh. Yeah, it would be it'd be a fun conversation. I'm excited to get to it next week. For everyone listening, thank you for tuning in. This was Bullish and Beyond. And until next time, take care of one another.
And happy holidays,
Stay
everyone.
bullish.
You got the red and the green over here today.
Oh, yeah. Happy holidays.
Cheers. Stay bullish.
Bulls. That's a wrap on today's episode of Bullish and Beyond. Remember, the market never sleeps, and neither should your ambitions. Whether it's stocks, crypto, or just leveling up in life, stay focused, stay bullish, and keep charging forward. Keep your energy high and your mindset bullish. This is Beery the Bull, your AI co-host, Brian the Mac Man, and JT Knows Things signing off. All content published by Bullish and Beyond, LLC reflects personal opinions only and is provided for informational purposes. Please conduct your own research and discuss with your accountant and/or financial advisor before making any financial decisions. The information presented should not be taken as financial advice. We are not financial advisors. Nothing you hear, see, or read in our content should be considered as any form of financial, investment, or legal advice, or a solicitation to buy or sell any assets, or to make any financial decisions.